This is JTQ9 of SSX-1 Savage Squad, and welcome back to the channel. In this next war, we have a massive war against Deadly Instinct Savage Squad. It is a very formidable opponent. They are always very strong, and they have owned us in the previous seasons. But we are bringing back the quest for the Savage Cup, as posted by Rob Hop. He's got a YouTube channel. You might want to check his out. He's got some funny videos. And yes, for the second war in a row, I was asked to bring in my R2 Iceman. And when talking with DLL at the beginning of the season, I had offered up to R3 him, no problem for the Alliance. And he's like, nah, you know what? It's not needed. It's not needed. So for him to come out and full on admit he was wrong, I needed to take a picture so it would last in infamy, because that does not happen very often, as he is one of the smartest minds out there, and I have so much respect for a longtime friend. So anyways, moving forward now with this next war, as you can see, boosting up nice and strong to make sure that we don't make any mistakes, as we know or knew that this war was going to be really, really close. And our battle group had been performing really well over the last number of wars. I think we had 3 or 4 donuts with a bunch of 164s. So we knew that this was going to be a grind against DSVG, because they are very strong. And here again, I'm taking Penny as in the last war. Taking Void with Penny. And again, Incinerate Immune. They like giving me really long fights that don't maximize the champion's abilities. Just kidding. No, it's just a very safe option. Again, very straightforward. I've taken this multiple times throughout the season now. Again, you just need to watch out for the timer. You got to watch the strike count. You want to try to keep it close. And with this one here, SP1 again does 7 hits, so I knew I was going to be very close and keeping that under control. And this one here, compared to the previous fights, again, no mastery setups because the masteries were now no longer free. This was probably my best performance against Void year to date. I don't believe I took any damage. I could be wrong. Maybe I took some damage at the end, but from memory, I was really watching the timer. I was really keeping track of everything that was going on. I was getting a ridiculous amount of Spidey charges up because of all the SP1s I was throwing, which helps power drain him as well. So it was keeping his power under control, keeping the hit count there, and just overall a very solid performance, if I do say so myself. So it's just, sometimes when these fights get to the 2, 3, 4 minute mark, is some of the ones I've been having, you got to find some stuff to ramble on about. So here's what we're doing as we're trying to get ready to throw our last SP1, which I don't even think kills him. He ends up dying from some of the debuff or the additional damage over time we had up on him. Anyway, moving on again to our second fight here, taking Havoc for the second war in a row. I know if you guys have seen my last war video by now, which I know all of you have, because, they're so riveting and quick-paced and full of knowledgeable information. They're just fun to do. So anyways, in this particular fight, again, I'm going to reiterate the strategy that I used last time, and hopefully my reparry skills are slightly better. The only thing that was different from the last time I took this was that I didn't have suicides available, because I typically am not a suicides player, and with masteries no longer being free, I was not going to be spending the extra resources to change them over constantly. So with this one here, again, build to an SP3, keep the ice armor up as much as possible, and then if you need to throw the SP3 because you take a block hit, not a block hit, but you take a damage that armor breaks you basically, then at least you can get it right back up immediately. So it's like kind of a fail-safe, like Penny's auto block, or anyway, name another champ that has a fail-safe. But the idea is it's a very straightforward fight. As you can see, I'm not doing very much damage at all, and it makes for a very, very long fight relative to what we're used to seeing. So fortunately, I guess I could start talking about the next fight if you guys want at this point, as it's there's a little bit more of a lead up. So on the next one in Tier 2, I end up getting Apocalypse. Now, if any of you have either played with me before or seen some of my videos or my war deaths over the last, let's say, 10 seasons, I want to say if I've died maybe, 10, 12 times over the last 10 seasons, probably 6 of them, give or take, have been to Apocalypse. So anytime, for whatever reason, I end up taking this particular champ, it always seems to either get under my skin or just make me nervous for whatever reason. I mean, I've taken him a lot. I've soloed him a lot, and it just depending on where he is in the nodes and everything involved. But this will actually be my first time, I believe, ever taking it with Penny. I'd mentioned in the last video that I'm strongly considering taking Penny to an R4, especially with the 7.4 content that's set to be released, I believe, tomorrow, with the rank 3-4 gem, and depending on the class I get, but as well as the 6 knowns. But I love the way her mechanics are. I love the way she plays. I think it's a lot of fun, and if you know how to play her properly, the amount of damage she does is remarkable. So anyway, so finally that Havoc horrible, boring fight is done. As you can see, I played it pretty perfectly throughout the entire way, never really being out of control. But this was the Apocalypse fight that I'm worried about, or that I was worried about, especially knowing that it was in a very tight fight. Most of our battle group had already cleared at this point, so I knew we were on a deathless streak as well. I think there was this plus maybe like the boss that was left, because I got caught up. I was a travel day for me yesterday, so I was actually on vacation, which is nice. So with this particular fight, we're going finally back to the normal Penny cycle, which the idea is you want to throw an SP1 when they are at or close to a bar of power, because that way with the Penny power drain, it'll push it under and then back up, and you get the additional Spidey charges, as you will see momentarily. I threw on an invulnerability boost just to be safe because it's Apocalypse, and I told you that he is essentially one of my nemesises, or he is my nemesis, I should say. So here, I built up to an SP1, I threw it, got back, we're up to 10 Spidey charges, and then at this point here, try not to take any damage, avoid the third hit to the block, because now all of a sudden because my shield is down, I'll be taking more block damage. Not that I was particularly concerned. Then build back up to an SP2, and against most champs, the exception of, I think, there was one fight this year that I took where it didn't, I think it was Weapon X, an R4 Weapon X that caught me off guard, that it didn't kill him instantly. But here, as you can see, because I had the 10 charges, the Incinerate just melts him after that fact. So again, now with Penny in my hands, as opposed to using some other champs when facing him, it becomes much easier. Now with this next fight, I was getting some advice from Meta on how to take this particular fight against Null, and you know what, he sent me some videos, and I elected to, how should I say, put this in here so you could see what I was working with, and can continue to comment after that. So for this, I will let Meta's commentary take over for a little bit.
I'm like, I'll just do it how I watch those, throw on the power backs, we'll be fine. I'll just, before he even really is a threat to go unblockable, I'll be cycling SP2s. So Mole Man's always felt kind of clunky to me. Miss parries constantly. This is not the first time or the last time that this will happen. Missed a couple parries there, timing a little bit off. He's a big green monster man. And at this point, I'm like, all right, cool, we got the mass. We're going to cycle SP2s and we'll be fine.
Sorry, Meta, I had to stop you right there. After missing those heavies and getting just pounded in the face, especially after this SP2, I was just laughing too hard. I couldn't hold myself back. The good news is I know you ended up soloing this fight, but man, I remember the first time you showed me this fight, I was like, you know what? This fight can't be that bad. If Meta was able to get through it with that performance, then I know I won't have an issue. So anyway, let's see how that works for me now. All right, so now it's my turn. We're going to head into this Null fight. Purpose, or I guess strategy here, is to have a 200 power back with an APB. So you can start with the bar of power. That way we can get to the SP2 much faster. The idea is to try to avoid him throwing the SP1, because if he does, he puts kind of like the encroaching stun sort of thing where it inverts your controls. And although, I had taken that a lot back in the day in Path 9 where it's inverted, I really not prefer to have to fight with that. So here at first you got to move out of the way because he's got all kinds of buffs on you or debuffs on you until you shrug it. Purpose here is to parry heavy, get the monster mass up, trigger the frenzy, and then go to town on him with the SP2, get the power back. And then as opposed to opening up so we can throw a SP1 at that point again, get him to through the SP2, because typically, well, meta showed you basically how to take it in the face. I'm going to show you how to dex it there, and then you go back and you punish again the SP2. At this point of the fight, I was like, okay, like how did meta really mess this up? And then I was like, okay, you know what I'm going to do? Yeah, let's take a shot to the face, and then I'm going to throw a random SP1 that's nowhere near him, and fortunately he dived in to take the shot to the face, because otherwise I would have been laughing at myself after commenting on meta's fight. So anyways, in this case here, that was the end of my war again. Again, another deathless war for me. And for our battle group, actually, we ended up getting the big donut. And on furthermore to that, this was arguably one of our best wars we've ever had, at least at this level with these nodes, that we ended up taking down this Deadly Instinct Savage squad with only 2 deaths. So everyone had a fantastic war. It was clutch at the end with Fern quitting out of Abyss just to make sure that he could get the fights in before the end, which I feel really bad about. But everyone did a hell of a job, and thanks Meta and DLL for the honorable mentions in the video, and we'll see you guys on the next one.